What's up, everyone? This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great start to your day as we start to zero in on the storm system that is going to move through starting tomorrow into Monday, and it could pack a potential severe weather threat and a snow threat, even for areas outside the mountains, which are obviously your more favored areas. So before we get going, I know I do this every time, and it might be a little annoying, but I am started this platform, YouTube, at the beginning of the year, guys, with 0 subscribers. I'm almost at 1,000. My goal is to hit 1,000 by the end of December, and I just want to say I appreciate all of y'all because it does look like I may hit that goal. If you're a new listener here, definitely hit subscribe. I really just appreciate it. It means the world to me. I'm very active on Twitter and Facebook. This has just been an awesome outlet for me to express my passion through everyone. I am not a meteorologist, but I'm somebody who is very passionate about weather, and I learn a little bit every day, and I love talking about it with people who love listening. So I'm very knowledgeable, but just thank you all for the growth. Thank you all for listening in. And like I said, I talk weather for the Southeast. I live here in South Carolina, so I talk a lot about South Carolina, but as usual, thank you all for listening in. So let's go on and get going here. Basically what this is the Storm Prediction Center outlook, the day 2 outlook. So this is for kind of tomorrow into Sunday. So it's highlighting a marginal threat of severe weather with this system. Marginal is a 1 out of 5 risk. It doesn't sound significant. You think 1 out of 5, like that's not a big deal. But let me tell you, a marginal risk, it has been something this year. We have had more severe weather, it seems like, under marginal risk than slight risk. In fact, marginal risk occurred in Texas a few days ago, and they ended up getting a tornado that caused a lot of damage, and I believe some injuries, if I remember correctly. So we don't need to get our guard down. There is a small tornado threat with this too, as we turn on the tornado threat here. So a 2% chance doesn't seem like a lot, but any chance of a tornado is significant in my opinion. A 5% chance of any kind of wind damage in this area in the brown, so includes a decent chunk of the southeast. We look at the day 3 outlook, which is getting more into Monday into Tuesday, more so Monday, and obviously the threat shifts. And this is the area I want to watch, especially let's say eastern areas of South Carolina, especially North Carolina. What happens there, and we'll talk about this in the video, is the threats of the main system, the potential severe weather part of this system really gets going in the more daylight hours and the late morning, early afternoon hours in North Carolina. We're going to watch the timing of this system. It definitely may tweak a little bit, but definitely watching areas of eastern North Carolina. They may have the highest chance of severe weather with this system. So what we have here is the 3 km NAM, goes out to 60 hours, and we can see almost the entire storm in this model. We actually had a system that moves through this morning that dropped about ½ an inch of rain here in the Midlands of South Carolina. A lot more rain than I expected, actually, but it was a decent little soaker. So here comes our other system. It gets going through here, and it's about 6 a.m. I believe Central Time, about 7 a.m. Tomorrow Eastern Time. If I get them timings mixed up, my bad, guys. Sometimes it's hard to remember with timing. Here comes our system. Now, what this system is going to do is it's not going to track down here. If it tracked down here, we'd have more cold air flowing in a lot faster. It's going to do what we call, it's going to cut. So it's going to be a cutter, so it's going to cut in the interior areas of the southeast. So when it does that, it definitely presents a severe weather threat for areas well southeast of that low pressure. So here comes the system. It's starting to bring a lot of heavy rain as we get into the afternoon hours of tomorrow and things like that here in South Carolina and Georgia. And as we get later in the afternoon, that heavy rain will make its way into North Carolina. But check out all this heavy rain in Tennessee, Alabama. It'll be all rain in Tennessee, and I'll talk about the snow threat in Tennessee because it looks like there is a decent chance of snow in areas even outside the mountains in Tennessee, maybe even northern Alabama, North Georgia. But heavy rain at first for everybody, even the mountains, before this cold air back here begins to circle circulate in here. But check out this this threat right here that starts to get together. Maybe a line of storms maybe gets going overnight or late night as we get into the early hours of Monday. And this thing really kind of gets its act together even more as it gets into Georgia. And check out this blue here starting to get going here. So cold air is starting to maybe interfere here with the moisture that's left over and might be starting to change some of that rain into snow. We'll talk more about that a little later in the video here in a couple minutes here. But as we get into, this is 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 6 a.m. here in Middle Tennessee. Look at the snow possibly in Nashville. But mainly, right now, look, check out this line of storms starting to develop. And here we are, southeast of that low pressure, and we're in a warm sector. So you're getting winds ahead of this line will be screaming. When you basically kind of look at the clouds tomorrow, probably late tomorrow into Monday morning when you wake up here in central South Carolina, North Carolina, points east, you'll be looking at the clouds and they'll be booking it. It's basically because you have screaming winds coming out the south ahead of this cold front, and moist air pumping out basically is going to enhance the front. So we need to watch this area, especially in eastern South Carolina and North Carolina. And here comes this line of storms. We're getting to 7 a.m., 8 a.m. It moves through Columbia, South Carolina. And look at this area that blows up here. And we're starting to get later into the into the day here. And this is, I believe, 1 p.m. or so. This doesn't look impressive. And we'll back it up to about 12 or 1 here. It's starting to get into the afternoon hours. But you need to watch these little discrete areas that could really spin up a tornado, produce some wind damage. I think most of the winds will be associated with the line and ahead of the line. Strong winds as just a sudden pattern change here. But check out the cold air surging through. Starting to get some snow breaking out here in the central and eastern areas of Tennessee. And whatever moisture is left really begins to shift to snow. So areas in Gatlinburg and then the northwest flow. But check out these flurries. It got a little bit of flurry starting to break out. There might be a little moisture left, and maybe this might start hitting the ground. So Huntsville, even in Alabama, maybe you'll see some flurries flying around. But we'll check that and see how that develops. The system gets going, the cold air starts to move through, and I want to show this too. This is the 12 km NAM. It's not as detailed, if you will, and sorry, this is coming through. My internet speed is not the best. I do look to improve that in the future to make these videos a little bit better for you guys. That's the main reason why I actually can't show you my face. It's not because I don't want to, but it's because the words lag from you visually seeing them coming out my mouth so bad, and it's just because I got pretty low internet speed. But anyways, let's not go down that rabbit hole. So here comes the system, and the reason I want to show you this is because it goes a little past 60 hours out, so it really gives you an idea where that snow's falling, and that northwest flow kicks in. But maybe a flurry in Atlanta, I don't know. Anything outside the mountains, consider that a novelty, and just consider that just a plus, basically, because if anybody sees snow outside the mountains in early December, that's a big deal, even if it's a few flurries. I mean, to me it is, at least. One thing I do want to show y'all is the temperatures here, and the reason I want to show you this is because for areas, I would say for areas, South Carolina, North Carolina, portions of Georgia, points east, you have a chance for the temperatures to really actually drop during the day Monday. Here comes our system back here, and we'll kind of fast forward through this really quick. We start to get into Sunday afternoon. Rain's falling, it's chilly, but here's that front. You see that distinct here, temperatures in the 60s, then in the 50s, maybe 40, 50 miles to the west. And here it is as you get into, this is say 7 a.m. In Columbia, southeast Georgia, area, even Charlotte, 60 degrees potentially, and y'all might be waking up in the coastal areas of North Carolina in the 70s. But 8 a.m., 9 a.m., it's say I don't know, low 60s in Columbia. 10 a.m., you're starting to get through. The temperatures actually, the front associated with this line of storms, the cold air filters in, and temperatures will actually drop into the 50s throughout the afternoon, the Midlands of South Carolina, upstate. And then as you start to get into, this is about, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I mean, your drive home will probably be in the 40s from work in portions of the southeast, as opposed to when you woke up, it was in the 60s. And this is for Monday. But check out that cold air filtering behind it. So another thing I want to show is these dew points, because dew points to me is something I love looking at, especially in early fall when you're trying to look for cooler air masses and drier air masses. But check out dew points, and this is what's going to enhance a severe weather threat. When you got high dew points like this, obviously you get moist air, which is an ingredient for severe weather. So you got dew points surging here into the 60s, but check it out. As you get into the 9 a.m., 10 a.m., the dew points will go from the 60s to the 40s just in a matter of a few hours. So if you got a weather station, this will be something to, any kind of guy or girl that's passionate about weather, it'll be something to geek out about here, because it'll be such a stout drop and you'll check out these. Now this is chapstick, chapstick dry weather right here moving in, but this is as far as it goes out. By the time you get to 7 p.m., except maybe the Outer Banks and the far eastern coastal areas of North Carolina, you're locked into a winter air mass here as the front moves through. Something I do want to talk about is those winds that I mentioned, and this is the NAM 2. As you're getting into, say, 5 a.m., guys, when y'all wake up in the morning for the start your work week here Monday, areas in the southeast, and if you got an older house where you can hear the winds big time outside, you're going to hear them throughout the night, especially in Georgia and Alabama. But as you start waking up here in South Carolina, the winds are going to be screaming, and these are potential wind gusts. So any leaves that are still barely hanging on by a thread, fall foliage, is going to be ripped off, I do think, and not a whole lot left. But check out these high winds, and then you see how it kind of cuts off right here? That is the line of storms. So really gusty winds ahead of this line of storms, and look how much it starts to crank. And this is probably a little overdone, but it just shows you that if there is one threat we need to worry about for severe weather, it is the definite wind threat. So you look at CAPE here. Basically, CAPE in a nutshell is storm fuel. So you can see with basically the warm sector is getting going here, and as we get overnight Sunday into Monday, you're getting into the Monday hours. Columbia, I think we're early enough in the day where there's not much of a threat. Greenville, areas basically east of here, I don't think there's going to be much of a severe weather threat. But check out how the CAPE is increasing over here in eastern North Carolina, even eastern South Carolina. That's because it's starting to get into the daytime hours. Even if it's still early in the day, the temperatures and the dew points are able to have more time to increase. The instability is what I'm trying to say increases, which is something we need to watch out for to aid in the definitely the severe weather threat. So we're going to look at the tornado parameter. Basically, it goes from 1 to 10. It definitely increases here as you get, and it's only maybe a 1 to 2 in eastern South Carolina, but look as it increases in portions of eastern North Carolina. It's not a big deal, but it is something we need to watch. Rainfall, courtesy of the GFS, and I don't even think this is the latest GFS, but the rainfall, definitely need to watch out for really heavy rain in the southern areas of southeast, but a few inches of rain is definitely possible. Now, this is something that a lot of people are tuning in for, and this is snowfall. So this is the latest NAM. It only goes out to 60 hours. But check out, the NAM, it gets overdone and gets too excited with this kind of stuff sometimes. But even 60 hours out, as we get into the evening hours of Sunday, pinpoints that potential snow threat in Middle Tennessee, obviously Eastern Tennessee. You look at here, you look at the European model from overnight. we got a little stripe of snow in eastern middle Tennessee, and obviously, a snow threat here as the northwest flow starts kicking in. So areas like Gatlinburg, I've mentioned in multiple videos, definitely a snow chance for you guys with this wraparound moisture. And here's your GFS. Let's see if we can flip it over to the latest GFS. It might lag here for me a little bit, but basically this is here we go. So this is the latest GFS. Still pinpointing that area just east of Nashville, where, I don't know, maybe a band of heavy snow could set up, maybe drop a quick inch, maybe two, just east of Nashville. Maybe Nashville can get a dusting, not sure, but of course this area right here always suffers. There's always kind of a hole right here that they just kind of get screwed from snow sometimes, especially in systems like this. But areas like Asheville and Boone, I think y'all have a chance to see maybe a dusting, but these kind of events, when you get a northwest flow here, when you got any wraparound moisture after a low pressure moves through, it definitely favors more areas like Gatlinburg, which are sit east of sit west of the high peaks of the mountains. You definitely just get some enhanced snow. So I think Gatlinburg has a chance to see 1 or 2 inches of snow, which is a pretty big deal for that area, especially around the holidays. Definitely will look like Christmas around that area. And obviously the higher peaks, like Mount LeConte, Mount Mitchell, things like that could see 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, first significant snowfall of the year. But areas in North Georgia have to watch out. Even in North Alabama, hints at some flurries and things like that. So even you guys in North Georgia, South Carolina, no, I don't see anything. This doesn't favor us at all. But that's all I got, guys. Just wanted to give y'all an update. I'll probably give y'all another update tomorrow morning, and it'll probably be more zoomed in on the severe weather threat that could be enhanced and maybe increased. But we'll talk about that here. Thank y'all for tuning in, and y'all have an awesome day.